You're Mark Webb. I'm gonna let you finish, but Sam Raimi had one of the best Spider-Man 2s of all time. Of all time! What's up, everybody? My name is Max. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 trailer just came out, and a bunch of guys hit me up on Twitter to ask me what I thought about it. So I thought it'd be easy to just make a quick video, bang, with quick thoughts. I'm a huge fan of The Amazing Spider-Man to begin with. I really like the character, I really like the movies. To be fair, I went back and watched the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, and it was very underwhelming. I think everyone was just so excited that this movie was being made that everyone's like, yeah, this is sick. But now, you know, technology's advanced a lot. It looked old, it looked dated, it looked like kind of cheesy. Amazing Spider-Man, the reboot, I think it did a great job. Now, right off the bat, I think the CGI looks incredible. The flapping of his shirt when he's falling a million miles an hour, that looks so cool. There are points in the trailer where the CGI does not look great. I'm just gonna chalk that up to them wanting to put out a trailer fast. Typically with CGI jobs like this, they spend a while on making them look very, very perfect. Amazing Spider-Man 1 looks great, so by the time the movie comes out, it will be beautiful. It's a very serious tone, you know, Spider-Man's like, I have all this power and all that happens is the people around me are gonna die and blah, blah, blah. As much fun as it is hearing him crack jokes and be a funny guy, that's sort of Spider-Man's mythos, is that he has all this power and all that happens is the people around him, his loved ones or whatever, just, you know, they always just die. So if they're getting into that, then that's cool. Moreover, I think the whole trailer has more of a comic booky look and feel to it. The colors are a lot more vibrant. There's a lot of like daytime fighting. That one shot in Times Square, it looks like there's a lot of stuff going on. And there's no bigger example of that than Spider-Man's costume. The eyes are bigger, it's a little bit brighter, the reds and the blues are more vibrant. It doesn't look like every fight scene's gonna be at night in the shadows. And anyway, the costume looks great. I'm a huge fan. In terms of casting, you know, Andrew Garfield's a great Peter Parker, Emma Stone is a great Emma Stone. I'm not worried about those two. Daniel DeHaan looks really creepy, and I'm really excited about him as Harry Osborn. The only thing that kind of worries me is his haircut. When he looks like they turn him into the Green Goblin, he's got this really big green, like, foof. That being said, I'm not a huge fan of the original Green Goblin costume because the Green Goblin in the comic books looks ridiculous. And it was sort of something that we could forgive because of all the crazy stuff that he was doing, but at the end of the day, the purple and the green and the satchel and everything, and it looks, I don't know. I'm not wedded to that by any stretch of the imagination. I think Paul Giamatti as the Rhino is going to be great. I have heard that he is sort of a minor character right at the beginning that Spider-Man can beat up, but he looks kind of like a Transformer, which is a cool interpretation of it. You know, whatever. I'm not really worried about it. It looks like one of those things from Avatar. Abada. And Electro, Jamie Foxx looks incredible. I also like that they didn't have his whole backstory in the trailer. You know, one of the things I hate about trailers is when you watch it, you realize you watched the entire movie and that there's no reason to go to the movie because you already know the whole plot. So I'm glad they held something of Electro out of it. The fact that he's blue will allow people to move on from the fact that it's black Electro. Like, oh my god. Wait till everybody gets a load of Michael B. Jordan as Black Human Torch. Anyway, the meat and potatoes of this, the big reveal here is that it looks like they're setting up the Sinister Six. Now, the original Sinister Six was Dr. Octopus, Mysterio, Sandman, Kraven, Vulture, and Electro. Dr. Octopus got them all together, was like, look, we gotta band together, beat up Spider-Man. It looks more like what they're setting up here is Mark Millar's version from Marvel Knights, which is where Osborn sets them all up, and it turns out that Norman Osborn was bankrolling supervillains in an attempt to distract the authorities and superheroes from even more shady stuff that Oscorp was doing. Clearly, there's one scene where the guy's walking down the hallway and you see Dr. Octopus arms and Vulture wings. It looks incredible. And then later on, Harry walks into a room and all these giant doors come up and they're numbered 2 through 6. So Osborn, Oscorp, whatever, is making bad guys, with theoretically the first guy being Electro. So assumingly that's what they're setting up, and it opens up a whole new story. Is Amazing Spider-Man 2 and or 3 going to be overwhelmed with too many supervillains? This is sort of a trend that started with Batman Returns and spiraled all the way down to Spider-Man 3, where Sandman and Venom were in cahoots. Now, it always felt stupid to me for movies to be like, oh, here's an idea, let's just throw in a couple more bad guys. But in this situation, it's actually based on the real storyline. So if they can stay true to that, I think it'll work out really, really well. If they're sort of patient with it. What sucked about Spider-Man 3 was that like Venom was sort of felt like he was just thrown into the movie, which it sounds like he might have been. Amazing Spider-Man as a series feels like they're really trying to play the long game. So if they're patient with it and they set it up really well, I'm in. I'm all for it. Because Spider-Man's always sort of outnumbered and outgunned, but he always wins. The only problem is he usually has help from Captain America or the Avengers or Fantastic Four or any other characters that can't possibly be in Spider-Man movies because other studios own their rights, so they'll never do a crossover, which sucks. But anyway, if they can set it up and they're patient with it, I'm all in for the Sinister Six. Oh my god, I'm so excited. And then the only other question is Gwen Stacy, or Emma Stone, depending on who you really want to talk about. There was a big buzz around the internet a little while ago because there were pictures of her while she was filming, and she was wearing the exact same thing Gwen Stacy wears when she dies. Gwen Stacy is kidnapped by Norman Osborn and they have a fight on the Brooklyn Bridge. Gwen Stacy falls off the edge, Spider-Man saves her with his webbing, This is a whole huge story that I should probably not gloss over. But the long and short of it is, she dies. Now the question is Gwen Stacy, Emma Stone gonna die in the movie? That remains to be seen. I think if it were up to me, if the movie has any balls, and I love you Emma Stone, but Gwen Stacy has to die. Meanwhile, Mary Jane has already been cast, but it sounds like the majority of her stuff has been pushed back to Amazing Spider-Man 3. What does that tell us? Absolutely nothing. The last thing is, looks like Amazing is setting up something cool with Richard Parker. Richard Parker was Peter's father who died when Peter was very young. Peter didn't get to know him growing up. Basically, his father figure was Uncle Ben. Over the years, people have come up with different things regarding Richard Parker. Sometimes he's just a guy. Sometimes he's a brilliant scientist. Sometimes he's like a secret agent. At one point, he was like a clone robot, but let's not even talk about that. Anyway, it's interesting that Amazing is taking the character of Richard Parker and really sort of exploring that, trying to come up with something cool. Because at the end of the day, these movies should say something for themselves. Anyway, long story short, the movie looks incredible. It looks like I'm gonna be seeing it at midnight on opening night. If you guys have any questions or comments or whatever, tell me what you think of the trailer. Leave it in the comments below. Do you think Gwen Stacy is gonna die? Who do you think the Sinister Six is gonna be? Do you think Richard Parker is gonna come back? I'll try to read and answer a bunch of them. Let me know if you're excited about it. Let me know if there's anything that I missed or that I got wrong. So pumped for this movie. So pumped. If you want to subscribe to this channel, our main channel, or whatever, I'll leave links everywhere. Anyway, with great power comes a great movie trailer. Max out.